Some stories begin on grand stages, others start in the rain. One rainy afternoon in Nagpur, a few kids were kicking around a broken bucket, and that simple moment sparked something in one man. That moment became Slum Soccer, which went on to empower thousands across India through the beautiful game. Today on the Edexlive Podcast, we are joined by Abhijeet Barse, co-founder and CEO of Slum Soccer, a visionary who turned football into a language of hope, inclusion, and transformation. From training barefoot kids in Nagpur to shaping India's representation at the Homeless World Cup, his journeys prove the sport isn't just about goals, it's about changing lives. Hi Abhijit, welcome to Edexlive Podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, football started as a game of joy in the rain, but today it's a national moment for empowerment. When did you realize that this wasn't just sport, but a social revolution?
Slum Soccer started in 2002, and all we were doing was giving an opportunity for children and youth from slums to participate in football tournaments. This was in Nagpur, and we were doing these small tournaments, and we were giving a chance to those, especially who never had an opportunity to come on a football field. Nothing fancy. We were like we would do the tournament any place. Like it doesn't have to be a full scale football pitch, or it doesn't have to have all the trappings of a good football court or anything. It's just like any open space. As long as it is flat and safe, we would invite youth to come and play. It was during one of these matches. One team had been, these team come from a very backward community, even within the underserved community, and they were never given a chance to play. They were always called names when they wanted to play. And after winning one match, one of them came to me and say, "Sir, today nobody called me names. Today they only marveled at the way our team played." And that moment, I realized that this is the start of something really big. And sort of like it then took off from there.
That's nice. You have often said football creates equality the moment players step onto the field. In the vast country like India, how can sport become a blueprint for social inclusion and equality beyond the grounds?
One of the primary reasons why we selected football and not any other game was its ability to include as many people, as many players as possible. So, two can play, 22 can play, and sometimes we had seen like there were 30 youth playing in one sort of team. So this uniqueness about everybody being involved, like in other games, there are only few people who are. They may be a big team, but there are few people who are on the sidelines, and then they are waiting for their turn. In football, everybody gets active. That's one thing. But also the fact that once you get on the field and you put on a uniform, you become part of a team. You are no longer an individual. It doesn't matter what background, social, cultural, or religious background you're coming from, you're a part of the team. Now, we heavily uh, promote that as a fact. We have repeatedly seen in many communities, boys were hesitating to pass football to girls when we started this mixed gender play also. But even after one single game, we would see the change in mindset of the boys. One of the boys, he told me, uh, if we are equal on the field, then maybe we should also be equal at home and at other places also. So I think this was sort of like how we pushed for social inclusion beyond which.
So, slum soccer has represented India at international stages like the Homeless World Cup and FIFA events. How has this global exposure shaped your understanding of Indian position in the sports of development movement?
See, in India, we have this unique distinction. Despite a lot of people playing, there's this gap that exists. Like people are existing either at the topmost level of the game where there's a lot of visibility, and the other level where people are playing with no sort of hope or direct linkage to if they will be able to make or break their career into sports. This is a huge gap. When we sent team for the first time to Homeless World Cup, and ever since this is a repeating sort of thing, Many of our players had never stepped out of their city s- or state. Many had not even sat in a train, forget a flight. A lot of them struggle with getting documents done in time, so making passports for them. These are all challenges that they have to overcome. But the moment this slum kid steps onto the pitch at an international event, he becomes Team India. Yeah, when the when our national anthem plays on a pitch and you're standing with your teammates, you understand the gravity of the situation of what and where you have come from and what you're going to play for. Today we are using football not just to for our kids to overcome their uh, personal circumstances, but also to build communities around it. So we may be doing all of this out of necessity, but this is also how sort of sports for development is sort of shaping our experiences and their experiences also.
The project Shakti Girls focuses on empowering young girls through football and health education. What have been some surprising lessons and successes you have seen with this initiative?
So Shakti Girls creates a pitch for girls, not just limited to playing football together, but also supporting each other off the field. That is the idea behind Shakti Girls. And we teach them a lot of important issues which they may like feel shy about or not feel that they are capable of learning. We start with menstrual health management, gender based violence, sexual reproductive health, leadership. All of these lessons are taught to them through the game. One of the easiest tests, which I am always surprised, is like when I go and meet a lot of player girls, especially when they start to come. When you go and meet a girl who is coming for the first time to a football pitch and you shake their hands, they're not at all confident in shaking hands. But meet them even after 3 or 4 days, their handshake becomes firm. They look at your face and say, "Good morning" or "Good evening, sir." That slight change, just by participating in a team sport, and I'm not just going to say here just football, every other sports that we have started working with, we've seen them gain confidence at such a rapid speed that it always surprises me. The other part which surprises me is how quickly they find their voices. Like this shy girl, and once we did a small sort of activity where we asked them what they would want, like at home, but they don't feel confident asking. So they wrote all sorts of thing, like I want my separate room to study, or someone would say I wish my brother was also doing the same amount of work that I was doing. This level of awareness and conversation started after we working with them. The other surprising part was like mothers coming and supporting their daughters. This we didn't think was possible. Today we have also started a separate program for mothers called Mothers Cup. So this has been like originating out of Shakti Girls, but now it is also a separate program.
That was an amazing story, sir. So you have often said sport can transform mindset. What one story from the ground that still gives you goosebumps and reminds you why you do and what you do?
There are so many stories. I would be doing injustice to a lot of people who work very closely with me, but let me just limit myself to one story. We had this one coach who is working very closely with me. His name is Pankaj. So he came from a very difficult background. Uh, his father was an alcoholic, and he personally had a lot of issues, and there was a lot of violence where he grew up around. But despite that, he would come regularly to practice. He was not a great football player to begin with, but his consistency and his attitude towards learning was something which stuck with me. They would tease him because he was very thin and he was also dark in color, but he persisted. He stayed with the program. He played, he continued to play, he kept improving. In 2011, he represented India as a player at the Homeless World Cup. And today he works side by side with me and is also the coach for Homeless World Cup Team India. When one of the parents from like where he stays near his community where he now takes football sessions also, his father came and told me, I want my son to become like Pankaj. And that was one of the biggest, it shook me. I mean, like, that is the power of what sports can do for someone.
That's nice. So, slum soccer works with communities often left out of mainstream opportunities, right? How do you balance ambition and empathy towards pushing people to dream big while keeping them rooted in reality?
See, our program is aimed at serving the last of last. We work with youth and children coming from slum where they have very little in terms of access to sports, access to infrastructure, access to public transport to get them from wherever they are to where the facilities are. But the moment they step on the football field, suddenly they start dreaming big. And it becomes really difficult at times to manage their expectations. Everybody wants to become a star player today in the world of social media, in the world of quick successes. It becomes a big challenge for us when we have to tell a child that you were not selected because there was someone else better playing than you. But what we have done also with them is we meet them where they are. Like whatever level they are, we will sort of address them there, not where we particularly want to take them, because it is difficult. When we work with 1,000 children, there are only 4 or 5 who will be making it up to a state level, maybe one who will make it up to the national level, and even that is a rarity. So we work continuously with them. We tell them that if not for this team, you would still continue to play to the best of your ability. We give them the best of what we can, but we take away the pressure or manage the expectation in such a way that they are enjoying the game, learning not just football, but also the important elements of life as we teach them through football. Sometimes when people have low expectations of themselves, we try and increase their expectations also. Like in some cases, girls will come and sit besides the pitch and say like, I don't want to play because I don't know how to play. And then the coach intervenes and say like, koi baat nahi, we would still want you to play and enjoy. It has got nothing to do with becoming the best there. It is about having a good time with your friends. So yeah, it sort of works both ways for us.
So, you have mentioned the challenges of scaling while maintaining local relevance. How does slum soccer ensure program stay authentic and impactful at community level?
In short answer, it's local leadership. If we are working in Simapuri in New Delhi, we will work with the local leaders. We will not take coaches from somewhere else and work with. This is again time consuming. Like you have to look for people who match your description and then slowly build them up. But wherever we go, we will pick people who are from the community. The coaches will be from slums. Our players in 1 year they will play, but in next couple of years they can become mentors, they can become coaches. Today if you see, we have a deaf program which started in 2018 or 19, and today we have a batch of 14 deaf youth licensed coaches. They are the first batch of de-licensed coaches who are entirely deaf, and now these deaf coaches are going in deaf schools and teaching deaf children. So this is how we sort of scale. It's slow, it's labor intensive, but we don't want to take away anything from the people who have worked hard on it. And as I said in my earlier story also, we promote from within. So a player has an opportunity if they stick with us to become a youth coach, a program lead, or even a manager.
That was a nice way of approaching. So, looking ahead, what exciting innovations or themes do you foresee shaping the future of sports development in India? And how slum soccer is preparing for them?
I see a lot of things even happening now across India where sports are no longer, a lot of people are now engaging in sports for entertainment, for relaxation. This is a very happy trend. Like growing up, I would see a lot of people not taking or rather giving up sports after you reach a certain stage or age in life. Whereas sports is about enjoyment. It's not about like competition or mastery. It's about having good time with your friends on a field where you can, uh, be yourself, have fun, laugh at your own cost. So I feel this is one of the emerging trend is where more and more people are coming ahead and taking up some sports. Uh, I mean, like the paddle ball thing is a recent trend, but it has penetrated even tier three cities where people are coming out just to play with friends. Now, that is one important trend which I feel as like taking India by storm. The second is again integrating learning into sports. Like, especially in schools and all, nowadays, sports is being used as a tool to teach important lessons like like losing. Like we do that lot here because it is important for the mental health of children that they understand setbacks and drawbacks don't define their life. I mean, if you can teach a child to lose gracefully or not to take every loss personally, there will be less suicides among students. So I feel that this integration, and I think a lot of people are now, a lot of schools and colleges and institutions are now doing it. So I think that is the other trend which I am seeing and I'm feeling happy about.
That's nice, sir. So, which is your favorite sport?
I'm of course partial towards football. I feel that football in India has had its really long incubation period, and now we really need to get out and get to a stage where we are making our country proud.
Do you often play football?
I do play. I'm not that good.
Thank you for being on Edexlive Podcast, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the muddy fields of Nagpur to the global stage, Abhijeet Barse reminds us that sport can be more than a game. It can be a movement for dignity, equality, and dreams. His story shows us what's possible when passion meets purpose. If this conversation inspired you, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Edexlive Podcast for more stories of changemakers redefining India's future. One idea, one action, one expression at a time.